Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Create and Vent podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Jeremy S. Cook. Do I still have to put the S in there, Jeremy? And
you don't have to, but you can.
But I did, so it's there.
You did.
And I'm Pat, and you're watching Matt DIY Perks over here, who's joined us in the studio today. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm doing okay. I've been doing some heavy brick laying, so I'm feeling like that rush where you've done a lot of exercise and feeling fresh.
Nice. What nice. Are you building a brick structure? Am I allowed to ask?
It's you might. I mean, in a video, not many people actually know this, but avid viewers will have seen it. I actually have been constructing a mud hut. It's like the complete inversion to like tech builds. And we built this mud hut a bit close to a retaining wall, and that wall really needed replacing when we started construction. So we're basically reinforcing it now so that it's nice and safe. So we're putting like these big breeze blocks in place.
Well, that's great, because last time we talked about a cob house, which I assume that's what you mean by that.
Last time?
Yeah,
yes.
A little.
That's right. Yeah,
very curious about it.
Yeah, it's got roof on and everything now. We've rendered the inside. It looks amazing. We've got a stove inside there. I will probably do this as a video, but I'm not entirely sure. So, because obviously a lot of my stuff is very technical and to do with computers and speakers. I don't do much like earth related or building related things.
So it's the wrong element.
So I'm not sure.
It's not fire
Maybe.
or...
Yeah. I'll need to perhaps put some LED lights in it or something.
Yeah, I feel like I found some pictures of your cob house after we talked about it last time, but they were not easy to find, or it was a little video or so. I don't remember it being easy to find, though.
It was a small section on a sponsor spot. That's the only site there's been of it so far. But if anyone watching this, actually, if you can give some feedback in the comments and say you want to see it, I'm probably more likely to make it into a video at that point.
I hope so. I hope
we
you
would love to see
it.
Last time we talked, I believe it was 2021. And you had just started this cob house, so I'm thrilled to hear that you're still pursuing this. But I'm so curious. The tension is just building.
Yeah, it's not massive, but it's basically finished now. We've just got to render the outside and do a few finishing touches, like seal properly around the door and make some oil the floor, which is made out of old pallets. As well, pallet wood. It turns up brilliantly, actually. You just take the top surface of them off and they come up really smooth, and some of it was hardwood. I was like, wow, this is literally free pallets from just around where I live, and it's made this beautiful floor.
When you say take the top off, do you put them through like a planer or something, or do you do it by hand?
Well, my technique for this was actually to manually divide them into piles of different thicknesses. So usually they varied in thickness because it's from different pallets. Yeah, so with the pallet wood, it varies in thickness, but only there was only about 7 different thicknesses. And so I arranged them into different piles of thicknesses and then laid them in strips on the floor matching the thickness, gluing them down onto some OSB. And then the heights varied as well because there were different. I mean, before I was really actually talking about widths.
Okay.
So the thicknesses are different, as well. So then I used a mechanical hand planer just to take off the top, and it's all flat, flush, and looks great.
Fantastic!
It's amazing, actually.
Now you call it a hut. I have a friend who used to be a neighbor a few houses ago, and he built a thing in his yard that he called a shed, but it had a bathroom, a shower, power, and air conditioning, but he called it a shed. I don't know. I'm curious what you mean by hut.
Well, right, because Matt, what I keep picturing when we say a cob hut or a mud hut, I keep thinking that it's something that like hobbits live in Middle Earth, and maybe that is what, I don't know. Can you give us a little idea of what we could expect if we saw one?
Actually, but It's basically imagine a mushroom in Mario, yeah? But imagine it nice and big, and you can go inside the trunk. That's what it looks. That's what it's like. So it's like a 3 meter. It's not really a circle. It's like almost a semicircle. And,
I have a friend
it's got a proper roof on top
who does pottery. We've interviewed her on the podcast, and she makes tons of little mushroom house-looking, artistic little pottery things.
That sounds a lot like what it looks like.
We have to see if we could get her to duplicate your hut. That would be so cool.
Yeah, actually, as a scale model. That would be awesome, actually. Yeah. Yeah, so with this project, it's so outside of the scope of what I normally do that I'm not sure whether it would work as a video. But it's taken so much effort that I might as well give it a go. So we'll see.
Do you know, it was your fault that every guest we've had on since you were on last and talked about the Cobb House and talked about how it might not fit on your YouTube channel. I have asked every guest if there's anything they want to talk about that wouldn't fit on their YouTube channel. And they're like, almost everyone's like, no, I just YOLO. I just throw everything up. If I want to put it up, I just put it up. And yeah, I expected that was going to be the most awesome question I could ever ask. And it...
Yeah, it's... With my stuff, I have to plan it a lot because I know that it's to keep the channel sort of attractive to sponsors and keep the view counts high. I have to really make sure an idea is going to work before I put a whole month of time into it, and it's a big process. Like right now, I'm actually in the thought process of which project to do next. I do have a big list, which I probably mentioned last time, but I'm not sure which one to choose yet. So it's a work in progress.
You've made a lot of good choices since the last time we talked. That a lot of projects that led into other projects, they link together. It's been fantastic. I enjoyed that you went from a giant power brick. Well, I might have the order wrong. The giant power brick to a TV that you could watch in daylight outside, to the PlayStation builds and all that stuff. Just feels like I feel like you're going to be going camping somewhere where you're going to have the brightest TV in the entire campsite.
Well, unfortunately, I've actually had to dismantle that one.
Oh, that's a bummer.
I try and keep my projects together and keep them as well. Some people actually want to buy them after I've made them, but I'm saying like, no, I don't want to sell this because I put like a month of time into it. Usually. Yeah. I'd have to sell it for a stupid amount to warrant like letting go. But with that one, I actually had to dismantle it because it's so big and heavy.
Yep.
So it's in bits. I still have the bits, but yeah.
But it'd be a lot of work to put them back together again.
Yeah. It's that one. That one was the exception where it got dismantled. But other things like the suitcase PC, like one of the flaws actually I've been having lately, I'm building things too big and heavy, because the suitcase PC was ridiculous. It's like something like over 20 kilograms.
Oh,
and when you're holding that in a suitcase, kind of it's a bit much. Like when you have to lift it onto a table and open it out. And on the video, I tried to make it look light. So I was just trying my best, like, and then after the shot, oh, my arms hurt so much.
Yeah, just don't tell anyone.
But the camera project that I've done.
Oh my goodness.
The next level camera, that also very heavy. So I'm actually redoing it, but much lighter, and I'm going to release those as 3D files for people to download.
I felt dumb.
I'm making a much lighter version.
Watching that video, you got to the point where you're showing the lens projecting. I'm like, where is Matt going to get a sensor big enough to put on? And I'm dumb. I was thinking what you were going to do was, I saw a guy 20 years ago make a camera out of a flatbed scanner, where it would.
That was an original. That was a thought, actually. I did look into doing that, but yeah. So you can get these scanners that you can put onto roll on paper. So it's like they're really cheap, and you just hold them against the paper and roll them down, and it scans. And they work with basically an extended CMOS sensor.
Yep.
And it's a single pixel high, but really wide. And my plan initially was to actually roll those down the imaging plane.
Yeah.
Take off its lens so that the light would just literally land straight on that, and capture that. But there's a few problems. One is that they are mono, so they're only black and white.
Oh.
Because they get their color data by strobing an RGB LED.
Yep.
And then interpolating that as color in software. And also the dynamic range on them is really poor. Like, really bad. So I thought, this isn't going to work. So
and you couldn't do video.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. The gentleman that I saw do this on, a GeoCities site in the 90s, probably, he took a picture of a garage door opening. And it was like it rotated. It was
that must have been interesting.
Really freaky. I wish I could remember what it looked like exactly. It's so
Have you
long.
seen those rolling shutter tests?
Yeah.
Where people film a plane rotor and.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except that
this
this
is
the
helicopters. That's pretty strange.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like a garage door is
slow.
Like too fast, almost too fast for how slow that shutter is on a
I know,
flatbed scanner.
The scan rate is so slow. Because it's actually a great example, though, to explain to people how it works. The rolling shutter effect. I'm surprised no one's actually done that in a video. I know Destin did a great video explaining rolling shutter. So, but it would have been cool to use a flatbed scanner and a lens to actually explain it in better detail.
Well, now that might happen.
It's slow. It's like I guess you could even like put your hand on the scanner and just scan it and move your hand at the same time, like side to side, and that would result in the same kind of effect.
Yeah, as long as you can get it to focus, and if you're close enough, it should be.
Yeah, if you just put your hand on the flatbed scanner, it'll probably be okay. Yeah.
It'd be interesting if you aligned your body or whatever it was moving to the rolling shutter somehow. So then somehow you
and moved it with it.
Yeah. This is a lot like those weird, when you take a panoramic shot of like a dog running and they turn into a long weird dog because the algorithm doesn't.
Yes, like a sausage dog, like an extended sausage dog.
Yeah, or the short ones that look like they just have two legs, like a little T-Rex with a dog head on them running. Yeah. They go both ways. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
So I guess you're still a camera nut, as you described yourself last time we talked to you.
Yeah, I'm into cameras so much. I've actually kind of been more or less satisfied though, because I bought the Canon R5. I think I just bought that. Did I? Last time we talked.
Yeah, you were doing the water cooling around that.
Yeah, had that been released yet?
Oh, that's right. No, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember if that had been released or not.
I think it was. I'm pretty sure that it was. You released that video already. Short, like the week or two before, probably.
Right. Yeah. Because I think I remember talking about the R5 and things. But anyway, since I bought that, I've my camera. There's what is it? Gear acquisition syndrome, I think they call it in the photographic world.
Gas. You have gas.
Yeah. That's what that's the abbreviation for it. Thankfully, I've not felt like I need a better camera or anything because it's just that good.
Wow, I've never heard such a thing. I thought that was unachievable. I mean, I'm being totally honest.
Yeah. Well, it records 8K. 8K. Like, you don't need much more than that at the moment. So,
no.
And things like the color science and just everything, full frame sensor, autofocus, just perfect, really.
So wait, it takes video at 8K?
Yes. Yeah, and it's a photo camera. Like, I have no idea how Canon designed a sensor that good, with the phase detect autofocus and generally really good color science, and then an impressively fast readout as well. It was ahead of its time. Like, Canon was behind the curve for a long time for video, and then suddenly they just jumped right ahead, and amazing. Like,
they've done a good job.
Crazy.
Yeah, I miss Canon because all my EF lenses that I bought were so cheap. There was such a market of used EF lenses, and now the mirrorless, even Canon's mirrorless lenses, they're as expensive as Sony mirrorless.
Yes.
I don't get to have a $200 28 to 75 like I did f2.8 like I did for my full frame.
It's interesting you say that, because I actually use cheap lenses with it, because just old EF lenses with an adapter.
Oh, nice.
It passes everything across autofocus and everything. It's really fast, but it's a lot of them are mechanical because they're older. It's a mechanical clutch for the for the focus, so you can manually control focus more easily. Plus, a lot of the older lenses had a much closer focusing distance. So I've got this really cheap. It was like, how much was it? Like 80 quid, I think. That's about $100, I think, for a lens. And I use it in the videos basically all the time because it focuses close.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's not very common in the present lineup of Canon lenses. So yeah, you don't necessarily need an expensive lens because they've been great for a long time.
Yep.
So yeah, it's good that you can actually use them, like with their adapters and stuff.
It's fantastic that it's working well too. That's what I've been worried about, is how well does it work? You're saying it works well, so I trust you. I believe you, man. yeah. It's what I would recommend to people, but it's so expensive. Like it is expensive. I only justified buying it because I could. I could make a video out of it. Yep.
Sure. And you're a you're a YouTuber with. Well, actually, we were going to talk about this. You are approaching 4 million subscribers at this point, so it's
very close.
3.9 now. And it's funny, last time we talked about a year ago, you were at 2.99 million subs.
Was it really?
Yeah, you literally said on the video, you said, I'm going to bring up, you pulled up the thing to watch the counter because you thought you might cross during...
I can't remember what number it was. So that was approaching 3 million at that time.
Just shy of 3, yeah.
Interesting.
I think you hit it a day later or something similar to that.
Yeah,
so it's a good milestone.
So congratulations, by the way, on both the 3 million that we missed and the upcoming 4 here. That's very exciting.
Thanks. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's paying off. Like it's amazing
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, we kind of like touched on this last time, but we're just looking at countries that your subscriber count exceeds, and at this point. You've now far exceeded Eritrea, which has about 3.4 million people, but you have not yet surpassed Georgia, and that's the country of Georgia, not the U.S. state of Georgia.
Not the state.
Yeah.
What's the population of the state?
I don't know. Georgia in Europe, I guess, is about 4 million, just over 4 million, and it sounds like Pat's going to find it out. But the state, maybe it's the same population. I don't know because it's. That'd be interesting if they were like parallel.
I reckon it's close. Yeah.
Oh, it's not close.
Mind you,
they're comparable enough, but not. There are 10,711,000 people in the state of Georgia.
Well,
okay, that's a lot more than I was thinking.
There
America's
you go.
Big.
It is. People.
Being from the UK, when I was learning about American geography in school, it took me ages to get over the scale of the US. I couldn't wrap my head around how big it is, and you get to roam the whole thing. It's pretty cool.
True. Well,
I can see why people tour around in RVs and things like that. It sounds amazing.
Yeah. That seems like it would be a lot of fun.
I'd love to do. Yeah, I'd love to tour America now. It'd be brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's a great place to take a road trip or what have you. I was talking to somebody the other day. He was from Bosnia, I believe. He was from Bosnia, and I said, "Where is that exactly?" And somebody else made a crack about how Americans don't know geography. But then I thought about it later. I was like, well, I pretty much know where all of the 50 states are, and that's a lot of.
We learned last interview that I don't know quite where all the 50 states. Like, if they're on a map, I could point to the right places, but I forget what we were talking about, New Mexico or something. I was like, is that left or right of, and it's just another square out there. There's a lot of squares in that general area.
Yes,
and
that is true.
If you show me the map, I'll point to it, and I'll probably get it right. But if you ask me, is it east of or north of, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe.
It's near normal Mexico. So just
that's a good way to
normal
cheat.
Mexico.
Yeah, regular Mexico. Or can we call it Big Mexico?
You can call it Big Mexico if you want. I mean, I think that's accurate.
I heard they're going to change the name of mini golf to golf. and we're gonna have to start referring to regular golf as big golf. I don't know if this is true, but I'm gonna get behind it. I like this idea.
Well, yeah, I heard about, was it the LIV tournament in the the Middle East? Maybe that's what the whole controversy was about with the PGA Tour and such.
Oh, so maybe that's big golf. I don't follow golf well, Jeremy. I'm not prepared. I thought I had a good little joke that I heard on the internet a while back.
It is a good joke. I made probably wasn't that good of a joke either. There was something about, I don't know, maybe the biggest golfer playing for LIV, and he was going to get paid like $1 billion or something. It was
insane number,
mind blowing. But anyway,
do either of you play sports or anything? By the way, I get the feeling no, but
I can golf. I'm years out of practice, but I can golf. I was reasonably good at it.
Okay.
I'm bad at putting. I'm bad at driving, but I'm good in the middle.
Okay.
I was a pretty good basketball player long ago, but not so much today. What about yourself? Right. What's your sport? Feel like something.
I'm getting into swimming at the moment. Actually, I used to be an awful swimmer. Like coordinating, my coordination was way off between my arm movements and leg movements. So it was not great. But I think it coalesced with me actually learning, getting my driver's license, because in the UK it's all manual and stuff. So this is a few years ago now. But as I got used to it, it actually improved my hand-foot coordination, because I have good balance, and I can run over a big boulders, a field of boulders, like as if they're not there. But I couldn't synchronize specific movements. So I found doing the breaststroke, for example, I would do it wrong. But I've been really getting into swimming, and I've gotten loads better. And I can only, it could be just coincidence that it occurred at the same time as I learned to drive, but. I can quite strong at swimming now. It's just I get really cold because I live by the sea. If I go in the sea, I can only go in for 10 minutes tops, and then I'm frozen.
Imagine.
Really?
So even in the height of summer, we recently had a heat wave here in the UK, and it was apparently boiling everywhere, but it wasn't too bad in my town because it was by the sea, so we had a lot of sea breeze. So it was about 32. That's quite warm for the UK, but it was manageable. But then I went in the sea and got too cold, and then had to sit in my car to get warm, which had been in the sun and was like a greenhouse. But everyone was like, "What's he doing in his car?" But I was literally trying to get warm because on the hottest day of the year, because I'd gotten too cold in the sea.
I just had to look up what 32 Celsius is. It's about 90 American. Jeremy. Just
90 in American. Okay.
And I was just saying today, I asked Google what the temperature was outside, and it's about 32 today. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's chilly. I've been avoiding going outside. I have a little electric unicycle that I like to go ride, but I hate doing it when it's 108 Fahrenheit. I'm going to ask what 108 Fahrenheit is.
So
that's pretty hot.
With the temperature, the hottest, I think, just past 40 Celsius, and that must be close to 100 and...
Yeah, 42 Celsius. We've been at 42 or 43 quite a few days.
Considered normal. Here,
it's hot.
Turned on the news, and it was like the apocalypse. It was coming. They changed the... you could look at a weather map. So last year, or the year before, there was very similar temperatures. So about 3 degrees Celsius in it. And they had just normal sunny sort of yellow spots where it was warmer, blue spots where it was cooler, and then this year with the heat wave they sort of hyped it up a bit, and they had the whole thing deep dark red and warning signs and stuff, and it was only about 3 degrees higher than last year, so it was it was funny.
It's hot when it gets when it was 108 I went out for usually when you're riding along at 20 miles an hour, so you're making your own breeze, right? So it's nice. And I rode through this park here where it's all shady, and then I got out in the big, wide open field where it gets windy, and I thought, it's going to be great when it gets windy. And then I inhaled that 108-degree wind, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
This is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's too,
not nice.
too much.
Is it consistently those temperatures in summer then where you are?
Yeah, 108 is pretty high for
us.
us here in this part of Texas.
So
but
is it normal to have like aircon then? Do you have aircon?
oh yes,
Is it common
yes,
for
you couldn't
people?
survive
Yeah.
without it.
Because that's
here.
one
It
thing
wouldn't-
we don't have that in the UK.
Yeah, I
So
can't imagine.
all that heat there was nowhere cool to go unless you were by the coast.
Yeah.
So
When I was a kid, we
that-
used to go to
because
the
it's
movies
not
or the
normal.
mall when it
Oh,
got
yeah,
that hot.
to get
When
cool.
when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
lived farther north, it still got hot and humid. It was way more humid up there, but
Yeah.
most of us didn't have much air conditioning, so you'd go places
Yeah.
that were cool and just walk
Yeah,
around.
probably a good economic boost during the the warmth.
Yeah, I'll betcha.
There's a shop in our town, and I went in. It wasn't on one of the hot days, but it was. They must have had aircon because it was like 20. It must have been like 15 Celsius cooler in there. It was really chilly, but pleasant. So
Yep.
I'm assuming most people that were too hot just went in there. So
Yeah.
I think it was a
gets,
tactic.
It gets
They probably
weird
turned it down.
here because if it's 108 degrees outside, you go out of the house. If your car's parked outside, you get into your car and it is hot. I mean, it is hot in your car, so you have to be dressed for this heat. But then all the places you go have the air conditioning set so cold that you end up being chilly
Interesting.
when you go inside places.
Wow. So it's a bit of a you have to take a few layers then.
Yeah, you might bring a little jacket or something with you if you're going to the movies
That's
or something.
sweet.
I mean, it depends on who you are. Like, I
Yeah.
used to always run hot, so I would be hot even if it was cold. But now that I'm getting older, I'm cold all the time. So
Right.
it's weird.
Yeah, no, it is funny because it's like I generally just dress with what I want to, but if like my wife gets a little bit colder, so she'll bring like a jacket or something, like a coat. It's like it's like 90 degrees out, which I guess is I don't know what that is in Euro unit, but
32.
French.
That's the third.
it'll be like 32 degrees in Celsius. And it's like why are you bringing that? But it's because you walk into somewhere else and it's you keep it really cold here. And I live in Florida, and it's interesting because it stays fairly hot here consistently during the summer. But I would say almost never does where I live get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which
Yeah.
I don't know, 35 Celsius. Maybe that's right.
Yeah, it's probably top 30s, I think. I'm not great at
About
converting.
38.
Don't quote me on
About
that.
38 is about 100. I'm the Hey
Right,
Google
yeah, it's pretty hot.
temperature conversion robot today.
Thank you.
I'm keeping this window open.
Well, Pat, all you have to do is take 212 minus 32, divide it by 100, and then add something else or something like that. I feel
I'll put up that
I could
math lady
derive it.
meme next to me when you're
Oh,
when you're
that's
explaining
right.
that when we edit this.
Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty hot. Actually,
Yeah.
last time we talked, Matt. We talked about our projects that we were working on, and one of the projects I had was actually a camera bag I was working on because I was going to take a trip to see one of my friends in Washington State, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be awesome there. It's gonna be nice and cool. And they were having a heat wave that year. It was so hot. I went from Florida to the northernmost edge of the United States. In fact, I went to the Canadian border. They wouldn't let me in because I was an unclean American at the time. But but it was just the weirdest thing. And speaking of that project, I did get it done, but I actually didn't even take my camera because
Oh.
I just I thought about it.
so that
Yeah.
that's a shame.
It is a bit of a shame, but I just
Do
thought
you use
that
it now though? Like now that it's done?
my camera.
No, the bag.
The back. Yeah.
No, I didn't even use it. It was just kind of a project that I thought was cool, and then it's hopefully I still have
forgot.
it somewhere.
Do you are there any projects that you have put a lot of time into that never become anything and then just end up in a drawer for years?
I would say yes, there are, but sometimes there's a project I've been working on. I've just had it in my mind for years, a project where I could have a analog clock and have like a row of them, so it could have, say, like one that says like maybe UK time or wherever else that I'm interested in, UK time, maybe California time, China.
I've showed up to one of
our
our interviews an hour early because I didn't catch the correct. Jeremy's one time zone away from me, and I showed up in his time zone, and I'm like, where is everybody?
I completely forgot that you guys have different time zones.
Well,
like
that's right, because
America.
it's all the UK is all one.
It's all one. Yeah. So I was like, time zones? Do you mean like with an interviewee in a different country? No, it's just in the US.
And then I get more mixed up because whenever there's the third time zone, yours is far enough away that it's okay. But if they're
the worst thing with the UK time is there's BST as well, which is separate. People think it's GMT all the time. So if you don't remember that in summer it's BST, then you will get the wrong time.
Your equivalent of our daylight savings time.
Yes. So BST is British summertime, and it's not GMT. It's GMT plus 1. So.
Oh, I like that because it says summertime right in there. That's delightful.
That is nice.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, Pat, didn't our government pass something? They were going to do away with normal time, and they were just going to have a daylight savings time all the time.
It passed.
Is that a thing?
It passed in one half of. I don't remember if it was the Congress or the Senate, and I think it failed in the other. So I think we're still stuck with daylight savings time.
I think we have had a similar debate whether to get rid of daylight savings in the UK. But I don't think it's getting any traction, really, because I think people are just used to it. And
and I'm not knowledgeable enough to know if it's a good. I mean, it's a great idea for me because from an IT perspective, all of these time zones and time changes and differences, it causes issues. It's annoying and it's a lot of work.
yeah.
But Pat, that's just mind blowing though, because I feel like if I remember correctly, it passed the Senate like 99-1. Whereas, so you'd think the House would jump on that, but I guess you never know. I don't know what else was tied to it. I wish you put this in the notes, Jeremy, because I would have done some research and I would have looked to.
There was an interesting when it was on the radio. I heard this conversation about stats, or was I reading it? I can't remember. Anyway. Apparently it's a lot safer for school children in the UK walking to school when with daylight savings implemented compared to without during the transitional times.
Yeah, so it should be there should be light in the morning.
Yes, and it's safer. Apparently,
I get mixed up when we call it daylight savings time, but the time. I don't even know which is daylight savings time and which.
I always have to look it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but Pat, don't you stay up late enough sometimes that your days actually get reversed?
Oh yeah, I almost did it. It almost happened because of the plumber that showed up yesterday. Yeah, I get far enough that I end up awake all night and then I sleep during the day, and then sometimes it's hard to get back. That
doesn't sound terribly. Good to do on a regular basis.
Well, it's not too bad until you schedule something during the day when you're when you get into a position where you're awake at night instead. Then you're like, well, how do I go to sleep now? How do I wake up? And
I on a personal note, I actually have a really strong body clock. So if I go to bed late, I'll still wake up at my normal time and just be tired during the day. So it's kind of not great for parties, but okay for work.
I think I kind of work that way too. It doesn't matter when I go to sleep. I will, but until I do it enough times in a row, and then it starts to push the wake up time.
Used to it. Yeah.
But I think I have like about a 25 or 25 and a half hour internal clock. I don't think it's quite 24 hours. I've never measured it, but it's off. Right. It's definitely not.
Yeah, that's it. It would be interesting. I wonder if they've done a large-scale study about variation in natural body clocks then.
I'd love to participate in the study. like that. That would be interesting.
I think
they could just put you down in a cave for a couple days or a couple months, see what happens.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, it would be one of those tests
where
they deprive me of light or dark. It's light all the time. Oh my goodness. This would be a sci-fi movie, probably a terrifying one. Something bad is going to happen to me in there.
I can imagine Mr. Beast doing something like that, like sensory deprivation for. Well, he's probably already done it actually. Sensory deprivation for like a week or something.
Oh man,
I'm sure he's probably already done that.
Yeah. And Matt, you also don't work a regular 9-to-5 office job like most folks do.
It's full-time YouTube, yeah.
But you decide when the hours are. I mean, but you're saying your internal clock, you probably do it the same time. I do things randomly, just when they happen, they happen. And I've found out after doing this for so long, I am really bad at showing up for appointments. Like if there's going to be an alarm and a time, like 3 hours before this interview, I'm like, well, I have 3 hours. What can I do in 3 hours? I don't understand anymore what that block of time means.
Oh, interesting. Yes. To be fair, I've been really bad at that historically, but lately I've gotten quite good at work, like mentally knowing how much work I can fit into a certain period of time, because I generally work morning. So my day is split into 3 blocks. So it's morning, afternoon, and then evening. And then I can schedule what I'm doing project-wise within that. And I've gotten it down to it's helping now. I used to be really bad at getting videos finished on time, which required a lot of last minute. Do you know that, like the last minute rush where you just focus and
crunch time.
I think to be fair though, that still happens. Like it's gotten less, but the camera video, the last day of that, I did a 22 hours. Like got up at 5, finished the day at 2 in the morning or something like that. So
and you mean 5 in the morning to 2 in the morning, not like my morning of 5 p.m. kind of.
No. Yeah, so that wasn't great, but I got it done in time. But I've done like all-nighters and things. It's not great, but I'm kind of avoiding it now because it's not nice to do.
Good.
Well, you say on time. Do you set your own deadline, or
no?
Is it
It's
something
sponsors. Yeah, sponsors usually want it done by the end of the month, and usually it's a bit of a tight squeeze, so I have to rush at the end.
Yep.
And it's, I guess it's probably normal for when deadlines are there. I always end up. A project takes as long as the deadline is. I've never been able to get one done in advance. So it's from what I hear, it's kind of a common thing. But I'm trying to change it. It's just really hard.
One of my favorite authors, Douglas Adams, said he loves deadlines because he loves the whooshing sound they make as they go flying by.
Yes.
Well, listen, Matt, how long have you been a professional YouTuber? Has it been for
longer than
years,
YouTube has been around, Jeremy? Almost.
Well, as a job, it's been much less than the channels I've been working on the channel. So at first it was a hobby, and then it was so I've probably been doing it about 7 years as a proper job, which is still a long time, but not as long as the channel itself. So yeah, I'm very happy that I've landed on it as a job, because it's as I say, it started as a hobby. So
it's always fantastic when hobbies can turn into actual income that supports you.
Yeah, and it's such a varied job as well. So it ranges from project planning, coming up with ideas, building using different materials and methods and skills, learning things, script writing, presenting, narrating, managing things, editing. It's a wide-ranging job. And
as your channel's been getting bigger, have you been acquiring any? Have you been hiring help or
It's something
delegating
I've
or
thought-
building I don't know how to ask this without being
Yeah. It's something I've thought about a lot, but I haven't made any moves yet to bringing any other people on board, because obviously it's been something I've done solo for so long that it's going to take quite a lot of adjusting my workflow to actually involve other people. But it's definitely on the cards. The biggest thing towards that will be getting a bigger space, because this is just an attic room that I use as a studio. I definitely need to step that up if I'm having more people here, because this is not enough room to build things here. So watch this space on that front, because things will probably change in about next time we talk in a year or so.
Nice. Well,
that's exciting.
We would love that. Love to talk to you again for sure. But for now, why don't we go ahead and take a coffee break, and then when we come back, maybe we can talk about specifically about some of your projects that are really fantastic, of course. That's sound good, Matt?
Yeah, sounds great to me.
All right, we'll take our coffee break and we'll be right back.
Outro music.
Hey everyone, welcome to the coffee break, where we give a shout out to our top 5-ish Patreons. And I guess I'll go ahead and get into it if that sounds good to you, Pat.
That sounds fantastic to me, Jeremy. Can I drink my coffee while you're talking?
You can if you like. So our top 5 Patreons are Carl, Michael Sizer, Raptor, Stuart Morrow, Brian Moses, and Positive Waves. Thank you so much for your patronage and helping support the show. It really, really means a lot. Now, Pat, if somebody wanted to actually support us on Patreon, where would they go?
Jeremy, they would go to patreon.com/createinvent, all one word.
Okay, I'm not sure I got that. What was that again, Pat?
patreon.com/createinvent. Did I do that right?
Well,
you don't have to donate money to our patreon.com area. You could like this video, like this podcast, tell your friends about it, tell your neighbors, leave a comment. All of that stuff helps us out and gets us in front of more eyeballs and ears.
So yeah, anything like that you could do would be totally helpful to us, and we definitely appreciate it. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get you back to your show.